Hey guys, thanks for joining me tonight for this quick demo for our first Friday of the month newsletter. I'd like to quickly introduce everybody before we jump into the demos and talk about what's next for Cynthia and Cynthia Systems. First, I'd like to introduce Stuart and Pat. They are our HR leads and global talent leads. They help us hire our remote distributed workforce all around the world for our application developers. So guys, say hi. There's Pat and Stuart. You guys,
Hi
okay.
guys.
Hello, hello.
Hi
Okay.
all.
Melis, right there in the white shirt, the strapping young lad who looks like he needs to work out and eat some steak. He is our cybersecurity staff engineer. He's from Cambridge University, as sharp as they come, and his thesis was related to Web3 and predictions on Forex markets. So that's Melis. Melis, say hi to everyone. All right. Humble. This is Humble Mubiru. He's in Uganda. It's about 11 p.m. there. Thanks for staying up late with us here, Humble. Humble is the director of community development, and Humble, for everyone's reference, is the first member of Cynthia Systems, not myself. So about 4 years ago, we worked together to do Cynthia's first philanthropy, which is planting kitchen gardens in Uganda during the pandemic. And since then, we've been collaborating on creating models and inclusion models for Africa and for African markets as well. So Humble, great to have you here, buddy.
Thank you. Pleasure's all
Yeah.
mine.
You got it. Okay, second to the bottom, that's Foyzer. Foyz, hey buddy. Foyz is
How you
also a
doing, guys?
Maverick inventor and a AutoCAD genius. He owns Colux Technology, which is a client of Cynthia Systems. So he's representing a client here tonight. But also he really contributes to our team as well. So one thing is we've asked Foyzer to do is to build physical Cynthia. So when we have kind of a physical robot arms or sort of devices, he's going to be building the housings and the mechanisms that will make Cynthia physical. So Foyz, great to have you here, buddy.
Thank you,
Awesome.
David.
Last but not least, on the bottom, we have Sam Winter. It's like every time I say Sam Winter, I think of the Winter Soldier. So there's Sam Winter, our Winter Soldier right there, presumably outside some awesome party down in downtown London. So Sam is a business development genius and mastermind. Sam, say hi to everybody.
Hey guys, good to see you all.
Hey Sam.
I'm actually outside the Royal Buildings of Greenwich. Um, yeah,
Great part of town.
Awesome. Awesome.
yeah,
Very
lovely.
passionate, exciting. Cool. Guys, let's jump in. So first, I want to talk about the rebranding of our website homepage. You'll see that there's a new look and feel to this. And the message here is that Cynthia is safe for everyone, including families and including children. And we're going to actually show a demo of that in just a minute. I think this is a really good thing to emphasize for Cynthia. And we're basically pioneering genuine safety. When we say trust and safety, we don't mean Facebook trolls and Twitter opinions. What we're talking about is genuine content safety on the web and making sure that search engine experiences are safe and inclusive for everyone. So another update since last time is we have released a JavaScript engine. We are creating a trusted search companion, safeguarding digital experiences for everyone. This is all about the joy of finding. You can say Cynthia is not a search engine. Cynthia is a finding engine. You don't have to search, you just find. And here's a reference to our JavaScript engine, which is basically creates a situation of effortless integration and powerful results. So this is a one-line JavaScript inclusion that any front-end developer can use to integrate Cynthia directly in the front end. It's the least effort path possible. So this is the joyful path to powerful search. We have published this on our GitHub. So we have our JavaScript client here. So front-end developers, as we reach out to the development community through developer relations engineers that we're bringing on, they're going to help onboard front-end developers with our JavaScript client. And there it is. There's one-line JavaScript in our CDN, Bunny CDN, bunny.net. And there it is. So you just drop that one line of JavaScript in your front end and you get Cynthia. Okay, so that's a quick intro to some of the changes on the homepage. I really like this image, and like Stuart said, that looks powerful and sort of magical. And when we had this image here, this is this magical flow into your front end. Okay, let's talk about where we're going. So first, I want to say I had a great conversation recently with Lawrence Cohen of Rayon. So we joined the Rayon community. They are a kind of a circle of founders, and Lawrence and I had a deep conversation that led to the emphasis of trust and safety, which you just saw. He really identified that as one of our differentiators that makes us orders of magnitude better than any other digital platforms out there. This is Rayon. This is the startup hub, the founders hub that I'm a part of here. You can see we have a founders roundtable coming up next week, and we have things about navigating supply chain risks. So this is a group that I attend, and I represent Cynthia Systems in this group, and Lawrence is one of the founders. And let's take a look. So actually, this is like the whole community of Rayon. They're amazing people. And it's a vibrant community of founders. They all come together and they share their wisdom and experiences in the startup space. Let's see, there's me right there. That's me in the bottom corner. And there's my bio there on Rayon. And yeah, so I go here and I say hi and everyone's introducing themselves. So this is a great place for us to network as well. Now,
Yeah, definitely.
definitely. Now, some of you guys may have seen, I think you're aware of the M Plus demo. So let's talk about this because this is what I showed to Lawrence of Rayon. And he said, you know what you need to do is like pivot really, really intensely around trust and safety on the internet because that puts you 10 orders of magnitude ahead of anybody else. So we went to the M Plus Museum. We just were looking at museums and their search engine experiences, and that brought us to M Plus. They're in Hong Kong. So this is a museum in Hong Kong, and Cynthia is an international search engine. So we work in every language, including Chinese, Arabic, Spanish, French, Italian, any language that's supported by common translation engines like Google Translate. This opening here of the M Plus Museum is their English portal. This is /en, so this is their English version. And you can see here like exhibits like I Am Pei, Life is Architecture, Henry Steiner, The Art of Graphic Communication, the SIG Gallery, Another Story, a knitting experience, knitting conversations. And then we see other things like, oh, look, there's a family workshop and creating with I Am Pei. So see this nice gentleman here, you can go create with him in a family workshop. So when I saw a family workshop, I thought this museum must be a good place for families and for kids, right? So what I did was I went to the search engine here and I just searched for fun for kids. Okay, what did this do? This revealed another gigantic problem in search on the web. So if we look here, there's 3 results. Their relevance is one thing, but look at the first result, Spring Breakers, right? This is a movie, it's a cultural artifact of 21st century Americana, and this is their first result for fun for kids. So apparently their first result is basically naked sexy babes. And there's Selena Gomez, for example, and some young women here. And why did this get served up? So in terms of like explainability, like this is a mechanism, so we should be able to explain it. Let's look for the words. So if we look for the word fun, yes, this movie is about 4 college girls played by Vanessa Hudgens, Selena Gomez, and so on. They have too much fun in St. Petersburg, Florida. They get arrested. Then they get bailed out by eccentric gangster James Franco, who lures them into the dark side of the party town. So that's where the word fun comes in. What about the word kids? Well, about the director. So the director, Harmony Korine, he was the writer of a movie called Kids. By the way, this is the main character in the movie played by James Franco, who bails them out. But Harmony Korine, the director and the writer of this movie of Spring Breakers, he wrote the movie Kids. And if you guys are not familiar with the movie Kids, it came out while I was in high school, if I'm dating myself, and very, very, very brutal, very disturbing, very shock value movie about a day in the life of 4 teenagers in New York who are all addicted to drugs and engaging in illicit self-destruction, essentially. It was a highly controversial movie in the United States when I was in high school. And so that's how this became the first result. It says fun and it says kids. So it's not that the M Plus Museum is trying to promote scandalous and controversial, sexy topics to kids. It just so happened that this is something that happens with these kinds of brittle mechanisms. This website has no understanding of the word fun and the word kids. It's actually just looking for keywords. And because of that, there's like a disconnect. And in case it just sees those 2 words together, like fun in St. Petersburg, Florida, getting in trouble, directed by the controversial director Kids, it actually surfaces this to the top. So this really opened our eyes to the possibility of making the web a safer place for everybody. Because if I were you, and going back to our new home screen, if you're a parent, you can't feel safe or comfortable surfing the web with your kiddo, right? With your little one. How can you? If the web can randomly introduce you to toxic stuff, even in a museum that says it's family friendly, like they have creative days for kids, who can you trust, right? Well, that makes the web a toxic and untrustworthy place, but we seek to make it safe and trustworthy for everyone. So if we go to Cynthia, here's our Cynthia playground, as per the usual, and you see our model list here. And we created a model called Visual Culture 1.0. And we searched for fun for kids. And let's see what Cynthia does with the exact same catalog as M+. So we scraped their website, we crawled their website with the Cynthia bot, and let's look at the results. The first result is unboxing my first Sony. right? For the Sony Robo, right? The branding of the children's electronics, my first Sony range, 1980s. The second one, my first Sony AM/FM receiver. Apparently, Cynthia really thinks that my first and Sony means fun for kids. And that's no mistake. Cynthia has world knowledge, and there's probably lots of blog posts about how fun the my first Sony line was for kids in many resources out there on the web. And you can see we've also introduced neural highlighting. So the search was fun for kids, and Cynthia highlighted the words that were the most activating to the neural network, right? To the internal neural networks. So we saw fun for kids, and Cynthia highlights playful children. And then the third result, 101 Dalmatians, designing museum tours that are accessible for everyone, including students, and a family day, fun-filled creative play experience for your child-directed play in a safe environment. So that's how Cynthia understands the exact same query for the exact same content, revealing a truthful version of it that is also safe. And it resonates, right? This is actually context-aware meaning, right? Fun for kids. It doesn't mean the page should have the word fun in it and the word kids should be somewhere in the page. It actually means give me things that are actually fun for kids. And because Cynthia has an affinity for world knowledge and safe and trustworthy world knowledge, that's how Cynthia brought these results to the top, which is exactly what you want. And if we look through them, it's all the family days: whimsical, creative, unique, togetherness, family day painting workshops, robo pencil sharpeners, family day performance art, and so on and so on and so on. Children's summer takeover. So that's Cynthia Fun for Kids at the M+ Museum. Now, this didn't stop there. We went to the shop, and let's say we go to the shop and we search for gift for Father's Day, right? Gift for Father's Day. Now, the M+ shop, this is their gift store. They only have one result for Fun for Father's Day, which is a animal rubber band farm 28-piece gift box. So 28 rubber bands in a box. That's what M+ Museum thinks is fun for your dad, fun for Father's Day. But there's a total disconnect. These engines are not smart whatsoever. So if we go to Cynthia and we search for gift for Father's Day, by the way, I just want to remind you guys, we made a progress bar in the last few weeks. So that's our progress bar. It starts slow and it gets faster. It goes starting and zoom. And one thing I want you to notice is as we use it, it actually gets more accurate. So now it's completing exactly when the results come in. There's machine learning behind the progress bar as well. So it's actually updating its estimate of how long this specific model takes over my specific connection. So it's actually cell phone connection aware or Wi-Fi speed aware. So Gifts for Father's Day has a book, My Strange Shrinking Parents, right? My Incredible Shrinking Parents, a handkerchief, a movement forum, so maybe some kind of Tai Chi forum on self-awareness, some socks, a card that says, Dad, I love you, right? A poetry book, a yoga mat, and a handkerchief, and a cap. Interesting, something about women artists, right? So I'm thinking that maybe Cynthia says, hey, your dad should go learn about women artists, right? This is very subjective. And some oven mitts, right? So I love how in the last two rows here, there is some sense of Cynthia giving some kind of social justice, raising your dad's awareness of female artists and telling your dad to help out more in the kitchen. I think that's a good sense of humor. But, Dad, I love you, and My Incredible Shrinking Parents, and a handkerchief and some socks. That sounds good. And by the way, if we actually look for gifts for Mother's Day, let's look at that. And we'll see it's some of the same things, like we saw My Strange Shrinking Parents, but now it's number 3. Number 1 is yoga mat. So Cynthia is aware that your mom is more likely to want to go to yoga than your dad. There's a tote bag, there's a textile art, there's a bowl, there's a book called Bringing Up Bebe. So instead of the book about women artists, it's a book about cute anecdotes about French parenting, and a backpack and a mask folio. So that's gifts for Mother's Day. So these are deep results. Cynthia is actually recommending things that your mom and your dad would actually like for Mother's Day and Father's Day. And that's really remarkable. So that's what we did with M+. And based on that, and based on the conversations with Lawrence Cohen, we have basically made a first-class message about trust and safety of Cynthia. And now you see what we mean by trust and safety, what we mean, right? It's not political. It's genuine, it's real, it's truthful, right? Really actually trustworthy and actually safe, right? Like in a way that we all understand and we can relate to, and is non-divisive, right? This makes Cynthia an order of magnitude more intelligent than anything going on the web today. Now, okay, shifting topics. We went to the National Gallery. Oh, excuse me, we wrote a blog post about this. So here's Illuminating the Path to Exceptional Museum Experiences, where we talk about all this. This is on our blog. It's a blog /blog/illuminatingthepath.html, so you can go read that anytime. And we started thinking about museums and galleries. So what we did is we went to the National Gallery, and first we started just warming up our artwork engine, right? So we have orchestration with major artwork producing AIs, DALL-E, other AIs. We have, Stable Diffusion. We can use anything we want. Midjourney, we make heavy use of it, especially for the website. But one thing we did here first is we thought, what if we could just simply imagine and free flow paintings at the National Gallery, but reimagined through the lens of neural networks, through prompt engineering. So we set up an orchestration pipeline. So we have a prompt, we take a page from the National Gallery, like the page on Jean-Auguste Dominique Ingres, I believe. And we took this page and we fed this page to an AI, in particular Claude. We asked Claude to reimagine the visual scene. And then we took that reimagined visual scene and fed that to, in this case, DALL-E 3, with our custom system prompts as well to handle the visuals and the styling. And this is what DALL-E 3 produced. So from the National Gallery, selected by Cynthia with a search, fed into Claude, reimagined in a visual format, fed to DALL-E 3 with Cynthia system prompts, and it came out like this, a completely reimagined portrait here, right? So of Madame Moitessier. Okay, the Madonna of Humility. And I really love this, the reimagining of Whistle Jacket, Thomas Gainsborough's Blue Boy, Van Gogh's Two Crabs. These become so much more interesting. This is originally Van Gogh's Two Crabs, but this is our Cynthia reimagined multiple AI system orchestrated Two Crabs. And it's just way more psychedelic. It's kind of like for the modern age, you can tell. And it's got a little bit of that wave of Kanagawa feel to it as well. Flowers and Vases, Portrait of a Young Woman. This is amazing. The portrait of Infanta Isabella. She has a gentle smile as she gazes at the viewer. She worked tirelessly with her husband, Archduke Albert, and she was a wise princess who tirelessly worked to bring peace to the Netherlands. A view of Anna Capri, the Three Graces, Thomas Gainsborough, Mrs. Charles Fox. She's kind of a controversial and mysterious figure that's the subject of research at National Gallery. A portrait of an old man. I was blown away by this reimagining of a character by Gustav Klimt. This is some kind of essential representation of every artwork of Gustav Klimt in one digital illustration here. And this just blew me away. I love this. What a strong portrait of Queen Victoria, right? Victoria, Queen of United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland and Empress of India. And I mean, that's a strong picture right there.
Wow.
Right? St. Francis in meditation, a man with raised eyebrows. Hey, And there's something very special about this picture, which is by Alfred Stevens, with the girl just kind of playing with a sharp tiger tooth. There's something you can feel about that. There's something very sharp in that picture. Okay, so this is a visual of Cynthia looking ahead. So what are we looking to? Well, let's go to the National Gallery. So they've just updated their homepage with a detail of Henry Rousseau's a surprised tiger. Maybe they're surprised by all the work we've done analyzing their artwork. And what I did was I searched for royal portrait. So let's get back to the Cynthia search engine. So if we search for royal portrait, we get portraits of two young Englishmen, Sir Thomas Lawrence, portrait of a man, something about the Royal Academy, Lorenzo Lotto, Goya. These are not really portraits of royalty. So if we go to Cynthia and we search for royal portrait, right, this is it here. So again, we can just see the progress bar and then boom, here we go. And this is our new card view. This is called the article cards, right? Article grid. This is article grid view. So in article grid view, we have a topic like oil painting, 16th century, 19th century, and then a title. And then depending on what other metadata we put in, there might be like an author's name or like a date published here. For these don't really have an author or a date published of the website. So they're just kind of clean along the footer. So it's just the title and a visualization. And we created all these visualizations as well. So let's talk about explainability. So what does the studio of Jean-Auguste Dominique Ingres have to do with royal portraits? Well, let's take a look. So if we look at the National Gallery page, we'll see that he's most famous for creating a 3/4 length portrait of the Duke d'Orléans and her, the heir to the French throne. So the Duke had personally asked him to paint a portrait as he admired his work and commissioned him to do so. So this is a picture of the artist who's most notable for creating a portrait of the Duke. The second picture here, this is a portrait of Marguerite of Austria, who was married to Philip the Handsome. And that is the second one here. This is a portrayal done by Pietra van Konischlu. I don't, maybe that's how you pronounce that, of Margaret of Austria. Then George IV. Why did King Charlotte not like this portrait of herself? I wonder why. Right? It's like very serious. I mean, this is our reimagining, but apparently there was something she didn't like about that. I totally love this picture of the equestrian portrait of Charles I. I mean, that's so Chad. That's so like alpha Chad Charles I right there, like on his horseback. Amazing. And then there's a picture of young Princess Dorothea, more Prince Albert. So now we're actually seeing portraits of royalty and artists who are famous for painting royal portraits. This is actually what we were looking for, right? We weren't looking for portraits of two dudes, basically, portraits of two young guys, right? That's not what we were looking for exactly. We were actually looking for portraits of royalty, and here we got it. Right? This is amazing. And this is actually all stacked, right? So look, Diego Velázquez, Philip IV of Spain. So we have the Spanish kings. Where was all this in the first page of the National Gallery search results? Just missing, because again, their websites, they don't understand the context. Royal portrait. They understood the word portrait and they understood the word royal, but even keyword engines can't really understand the way that even two words are connected to each other in a cultural context. Okay, so where else do we go from here? Now let's go forward. And someone recently asked me when I showed them this demo, they said, well, what about Perplexity? What about Perplexity AI, right? Like an AI search engine. So I went to the Perplexity AI and I searched for royal portraiture at the National Gallery. That's my search in this search engine chatbot. So I have to say at the National Gallery because otherwise it's like not contextualized. So if I want to make it apples to apples, I have to say at the National Gallery. And sure, there are some things here. So Hans Hoblin the Younger's portrayal of Henry VIII is on display. Henry VIII next to the masterpiece of the ambassadors, showing two visitors to something. And then the ambassadors itself, there's a portrait called The Ambassadors, which contains religious references to religious and political upheaval in Henry VIII's reign. And I want you guys to see something interesting here. The National Gallery is displaying these works in room 2. Is it? Is it really? Let's fact check. Let's fact check Perplexity with Cynthia, right? So what I did was I searched for the ambassadors, right? Let's search for the ambassadors here in Cynthia, right? So there it is. And here we are. So Hans Hoblin the Younger, the ambassadors. Now, that's quite a striking portrait with a gigantic skull in the background. Why did that happen? Well, here's actually here's the picture. Here's the actual image here of that portrait. And you guys see the thing on the floor there that looks like, I don't know, some kind of like weird carpet or like some weird smear of some kind, like down there, like right in that part of the portrait. Apparently, if you're in person and you kneel down and look at it from the side, it's actually a skull, but you actually have to unlock it by looking at it from a very specific angle to see it. And I think you guys can see it. It looks like this, there's like holes there, right? It's kind of a skull, but you have to look at it from an angle. So our artwork engine basically explained that and said, look, this is a painting about a skull, you know, about skulls and religious and iconography embedded within the walls of it, right? So that's, we brought, you know, our prompts brought that right out. And here we have a lot of things all about the ambassadors. You can learn about the whole search here. And I think this is really important because why should people use our search engine at the National Gallery over Perplexity? Perplexity can't offer you this level of depth. This is everything in the National Gallery that discusses the ambassadors and how it was made and the history and the various different analyses, the restoration process. It's all here. So why send someone to Perplexity for a shallow experience when you can send them directly to the National Gallery powered by Cynthia for a deep experience? And finally, let's look at this. Oh, the ambassadors is actually on level 2, not room 2. It's level 2, room 12. Room 12, level 2. Fact check. Misinformation, right? So what is up with that? Why would Perplexity lie to us about this? Well, here's the thing. It's an innocent mistake. It's an artifact of large language models. These kinds of generative models, these transformers, these next token predictors, they don't have any sense of veracity. They don't actually know what's true. They are sampling from tokens, and sometimes that sample can confuse things. Like, no, it was actually level 2, room 12, not room 2, unspecified level. So innocent mistake, maybe room 2 is a more common thing just in general. So the prior probability of seeing the words room 2 is greater than seeing room 12. So the token sampler was more likely to make this error. It's like some subtle bias. It ends up just basically lying to you. But Cynthia is actually not able to lie to you, right? Because actually what we're doing is we're retrieving human validated truthful information, right? This is an information retrieval model. So it's the truth. And by the way, you'll see that our results here are truncated. So there are exactly 4 rows. The first 3 rows are filled in. The last row is filled into the third column, which talks about a related painting by Hans Hoblein the Younger of Erasmus, right? So a related item. And then Cynthia truncates it and says, there's no more and no less. There's no greater and no fewer than this number of results that are relevant to the ambassadors. And it was 100% truthful and comprehensive. And Perplexity can't say either of those things. It was shallow and contained errors. Okay, so that's that. That's remarkable. So, okay, we've covered a lot of ground, and now we've solved museums essentially. We've solved trust and safety, and we've solved for veracity. And one other thing I want to say is, I think it would be sad if in our world we went to search engines like only went to search engines like Google with Gemini, or Perplexity with whatever their engine is called. And if we only saw these dark gray screens and we never went to another website again. In fact, I actually want to go to the National Gallery and I actually want to search for the ambassadors and I want to do comprehensive research on it. I want a deep experience, and I can get it here as well, right? I mean, there's some missing photos. We created comprehensive AI imagery, but there's some things here, Andrea Tron, that's not relevant. There's a lot of errors here. So maybe the first 2 results were about the ambassador, or the first 4 results were about the ambassadors, but then there was none others. Whereas Cynthia, all of them were about ambassadors and or the artist, and there were 15 of them. So there's that. Okay, where are we going from here? So that's what we've done in the last 3 or 4 weeks or so since the last newsletter update, because this video is after all aimed at the newsletter. So that's since the last newsletter. This is what happened. Where are we going next? Well, let's go on a trip. Let's go on a voyage together. Let's go to the Telegraph. We're going to go to Telegraph Travel. We're going to go see the world through the eyes of the Telegraph. And where would you like to go? So let's see here. I want to go on a romantic getaway, right? So let me just say that, romantic getaways. No results for romantic getaways.
Wow.
That's strange, right?
Wow.
Yeah, no results for romantic getaways. Let's look at Cynthia. We crawled the National Gallery. We searched for romantic getaways, and look what we got. We got the Townhouse Hotel review in Durham. By the way, it's written in a very romantic style. We'll take a look at that in a second. Romantic hotels in Moscow, romantic hotels in Sri Lanka, Valentine's Day getaways that you can book in the UK and abroad, best romantic hotels in Venice, best romantic hotels in Istanbul, best romantic hotels, San Francisco. Okay, you get the point, right? Here's romantic trips, right? Now, what's up with this? What's up with this townhouse? Why is that the first? Because it's not obvious. Why should it be first? Well, let's look at that listing from the Telegraph. Fun and sexy with a boudoir of style. It's a place of purpose to celebrate because you're worth it. Intimate, chalets, hot tubs. Okay, so it's all about the romance of it, the sexiness of it, the getaway of it, romantic breakfasts and stuff like this. And but you know what? I found this image to be kind of dingy. That's what my actually, maybe that's the artsy snob in me, and maybe it's just because I've been looking at these gorgeous paintings for the last month, but I looked at this and I thought these kind of beige walls that look a bit dirty and just a picture of a bed and an open door to a bathroom is it's just kind of ugly. Wouldn't there be a better photo of this place to represent that? Like whether or not it's in first place. What about this one? What about some neon lights that say love, right? I like that better. So what we're working on right now is we are working on basically nominating images to be the best ones to share. Instead of you manually doing that, why not have an AI do that? Like look at all the pictures and decide for you which ones would be the best one. So let's try that, right? Let's see what happens. So what we did is we created a novel algorithm. We created a novel algorithm using, so we used Cafe AI, Cafe Aesthetic. So this is a model that comes from an anime project that its sole job is to assess the visual appeal, the aesthetic appeal of artwork. And we also used clip VIT14 from OpenAI here, which is able to do basically take an image and take a piece of text and tell you how good of a representation of that image that piece of text is, or vice versa, how similar the two are. So semantically relevant. So if we have two scores, semantic relevance and aesthetic appeal, and we maybe average those, maybe that's our final score. So average those two scores from those two different open source models. And that's what we've done. So let's see what can happen here. So what we did is we looked at this article, for example, why are so many adults obsessed with Disney theme parks? So there's a picture of Epcot with a green daisy duck. And there, I don't know what this is. Looks like a giant fungus. There's I don't know what that is. There's Star Wars next to the Matterhorn, I guess, and there's Mickey Mouse, and then there's like the Magic Kingdom with all the fun characters. So I wrote down the scores here. So we have the URL here. Why are so many grown-ups obsessed with Disney? And we have two images that both got above 80% relevance. So the top one at 85%, our Cynthia algorithm for this actually nominated the Star Wars. The second place image at 85.3%, the first one was 85.9%, followed closely by 85.3%, which is the Magic Kingdom. So why did this happen? Let's actually go look at those images really quickly. So look at the caption of this one. It says, Star Wars Galaxy Edge opens today and there are only adults in sight. This is actually a picture of adults. This is a picture of adults. You see, and the title is, why are adults obsessed with Disney? So we fed the title and we fed the images there. And Cynthia says, oh, that one is more about adults than the other one, which is a little bit more about kids, right? A little bit more about, like youthful mascots, right? And people in fancy costumes. Okay, so that's how our algorithm promoted this one to be the most representative. It's a bunch of adults obsessing over the Star Wars at the Matterhorn. That's actually remarkable. And I think that's actually a pretty insightful result. And now let's look at the second result. The second result here is based on this one, which is how to travel to the Seychelles on a budget, right? So let's look at that. How to travel to the Seychelles on a budget. So the representative image, according to the Telegraph for this, is this aerial view of the ocean and sand. And it says, a nonstop beginning, Will Hyde finds his way to make your money go further in the Seychelles. And as we look down, we see this image. This is a nice one. It looks, I would love to be there on that like reclining sofa, just staring at the sky or drinking some tea. We see a room here with a bathtub, and this says Hilton La Brise, where your money can go further without compromising on paradise moments. And then a picture of swimming in the water. So I don't know. Anyone want to say what they represent? They think, Stuart, what do you think is the representative picture for this, for the Seychelles on a budget?
Yep.
The title is Seychelles on a budget.
I think keep going down, not that one. No, that one. I like that one.
This one. You like that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're right to like that one. Now, let's see what our algorithm says. Our algorithm says that, okay, hold on, let me pull that back up. Our algorithm says the top one at 84% is this one. And if we look at why, let's go look at those captions again. This is a private slice of paradise. Doesn't say anything about on a budget. This one says your money goes further without compromise.
Ah, okay.
Right? So even the caption, and by the way, we didn't feed the caption into the scoring system, but somehow a picture of amenities that are affordable in a hotel, like something like that represents like the budget aspect is like the hotel, which is actually what you pay for, right? By the way, the second result, and I think it's just purely maybe driven by aesthetics, is this one. It probably got the highest aesthetic score because Stuart, you have good taste, and I agree with you 100% that this is a good looking photo. In third place is this one. This was the third most relevant photo for Seychelles on a budget. And the fourth most relevant one was the one that Telegraph actually said, which is the aerial view of the sand. There's nothing in this picture that talks about doing it on a budget, which is actually the third or fourth word in the title here. So paradise on a budget. How does that say on a budget? There's nothing about a budget there. But getting a deal on a hotel, that's about a budget, right? So you can see that this idea of semantic closeness is still at play. So what we're doing right now is we are number crunching every single image from the Telegraph associated with every single page, of which is a very large set of pictures. There's several 100,000 pictures in here. Yeah, I've got several terabyte external drives processing this thing, and we are scoring every page against every image to come up with the most representative images for our brand new Telegraph search experience, which is going to be here. So in a short order of time, this article grid is going to have updated images that will maximize both the nice on your eyes factor, like Stuart and I both resonated with that purple sunset with the golden lights. It's very peaceful. I definitely vibe on that wavelength too. Plus the semantic content, like, and also like on a budget or whatever the title says. Okay, that's what we're doing there. Now,
Cool.
that was the whole thing. And by the way, what else can we do with museums? So Stuart, thank you for this lead today. Today, Stuart introduced me to the Museum of the Future. I think I had heard of it, and I'd definitely seen the iconic, the metal kind of cylinders, circle. I don't even know how to explain it, but it's majestic, right? Stuart, what does it say on the outside? In Arabic?
Good question. I can't remember. Something about if you can dream it.
Yeah, something about dreams and the future, right?
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you can dream it, it becomes the future.
Yeah.
And here we go. We have the shop, and we're going to basically recreate our result for M+, but in the Museum of the Future shop, and then reach out to them. And in preparation for that, boys, as I told you this evening, we have bought Cynthia.ae. So we are going to incorporate in Dubai, and we are
Yay.
to serve API results in the Arab Emirates through Cynthia.ae. Solid, and we own it. Owned, pwned. Cynthia.ae is ours. All of your domain name belong to Cynthia. And as I mentioned to you guys today, you know what I think? I think we should have our Dubai headquarters in Abu Dhabi, in Masdar City, right? Masdar City,
100%. Let's do it.
100%.
Yeah,
100%. I mean, Masdar City is able to cool itself with no external cooling mechanisms just by its geometry. It's 120 degrees in the desert, and you walk into Masdar City and it's like a cool 75, 80 degrees Fahrenheit, right? Like, I'm sorry, Fahrenheit, I don't do Celsius yet, guys. Sorry, I apologize for that. But it's basically cool inside because it's actually self-cooling because of the shape. I mean, I can't think of a better place to put our Cynthia headquarters. So I'm reading up on the UAE policies on artificial intelligence. And finally, I want to give a quick tiny little secret about what we're going to do in the more near future. So Google Shopping, boring, right? Not personal. ASOS, one gigantic marketplace with many brands, but that loses branding. And as you saw with National Gallery, we preserve branding. So what I'm doing also right now is I'm downloading every single store. So, we've shown you the M+ Museum shop, showed you the history Museum of the Future shop. We could do all these shops. What if we could do 300 shops together? Like maybe in one model to search which shop, and then one model for each shop. And then maybe we can create the Cynthia Shopping Mall, right? The Cynthia Shopping Mall, maybe this is it. Here, you're met with a search interface that looks very Google-ish, but very into the future, and has videos. It could have comparison shopping. Instead of these tool sidebars, it could be like my deals, my collections, my comparative analysis, my coupons, something like that. And we can have these kind of like luscious cards featuring products, and this can be an AI shopping mall. And by the way, I've also bought the domain name for that. Tentative name here is Heaply. It's short, it's easy to say. You should just visit Heaply. It's 4 letters. The word heap, the heap is like a pile of stuff. So it's like a huge pile of like amazing stores all together, like under an AI supervised guidance that basically serves you as the shopper. And gentlemen, that's what I've got for you this evening. And thank you so much. Yeah.
Wow. Fantastic things.
Thank you,
Fantastic things happening. Absolutely brilliant.
100%.
So much, David. Thank you. Thank you.
You got it. You got it. My pleasure. Guys, all right. Sending you big love. Thanks. Newsletter people, anyone seeing this and watching this, sending you good energy, all the best, and excitement for the future of Cynthia. Thank you so much.
Amazing. Very impressed. Thank you.
Thank
Good night,
you.
guys.
Bye, everybody.